at Texas. He just got fired at North Carolina in an oddly similar way to the way that he got fired at Texas. So, I bring this up not because that many of you give a flip about Mack Brown, but the story of his coaching career and how he's going out again and the way he got fired again and the way that it started to come apart on Mack Brown, the coach, I think says a lot about where the game is going, where the industry is going. There's just a lot to his story other than you knowing and caring about him as a successful or unsuccessful coach. You don't have to know much about Mack Brown to appreciate the story. At Texas, he was 1 win short. Think about this, 1 win short of the all-time record held by Darrell Royal. Of course, he won a championship at Texas. He played for another one at Texas. He coached 3 of the best players ever to play at Texas: Ricky Williams, Colt McCoy, Vince Young. He got fired in a season in which, at Texas, he got fired in a season in which he won 8 games. I think would have been 9 when they won their bowl game. Now, there's a lot to talk about there as well. The program was getting a little stale. When you win a championship, you play for another one, and then you sort of level off at that 8-win plateau. It felt like the money was big and the program was slightly stale. It was, of course, better than it had been for many, many years, but, compared to where he had been, it felt a little stale. But he got fired in probably a terrible way. And so then he goes on to do TV for a couple of years, pretty good at it. Then he goes back to North Carolina, where he, North Carolina, his coaching job at North Carolina before he came to Texas launched him into sort of the coaching stratosphere because North Carolina was not very good. He shows up, and I believe they won 10 games in a season, which was just unthinkable at North Carolina. Then Texas hires him away, and the rest is history. Then Texas fires him, and he goes back to North Carolina. He didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave at Texas. He didn't want to get fired, and he got fired. And the thing is, he did win at Texas in different ways. It was different styles of play. That's what head coaches do. They just win in different ways. They always adapt. And he won at every stop. The guy had been coaching for 50 years, and he won at every single stop, including 2 stops at North Carolina. So here's the weird part of it. He comes out publicly more than once and says, I plan on being back. Yesterday, he announced he planned on being back at North Carolina. Today, they fired him after he announced that he was coming back to North Carolina. The Texas firing of Mack Brown was completely mishandled, and now North Carolina has completely mishandled this, which makes me wonder if he wasn't intentionally, for some financial reason, forcing their hand. Here's why I say that. Again, you should not feel sorry for multi-million-dollar coaches. He's one of the nicest guys there is, maybe the nicest guy there is in the sport. There's just not that many really genuinely nice, sensible people. And he's not a guy that you're inclined to whack just to spite him. In fact, you'd go out of your way to work with him to make sure the exit is good. The exit was terrible at Texas, and now the exit at North Carolina at 73. He's 73. The exit there is embarrassing. Here's the story. Yahoo reporting now. A day after Mack Brown said he intended to return next season, North Carolina said it's firing the longtime coach. Brown will still coach in the team's season finale against North Carolina State. He will coach against North Carolina State on Saturday. Here's the statement from the athletic director. It says, Mack Brown has won more games than any football coach in North Carolina history. We deeply appreciate all that he's done for Carolina football and our university. He and his wife have done an outstanding job supporting the Carolina community, including raising funds for University of North Carolina Children's Hospital while hosting other popular events. Yeah, the guy's, there's not going to be any more like him. You're not going to find these coaches that are sort of bigger than life, that are usually that involved in the community. He was the ultimate politician. He was 73 years old. Was now one of 3 active coaches with a national championship. That includes Georgia's Kirby Smart and Clemson's Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney is about as opposite of Mack Brown as you can get. It was his 6th year of his 2nd time at North Carolina. They're 6-5. They lost 4 straight games after going 3-0 to start the season. They gave up 70 points to James Madison in a 70-50 loss. Remember, that's the one in which he said in the locker room he's quitting. The next day he said, I'm not quitting. Yeah, well, now they fired him. They lost 41-21 at Boston College in Week 13. He says, quotes, while this was not the perfect time and way in which I imagined going out, no time will ever be the perfect time. I've spent 16 seasons at North Carolina, will always cherish the memories. As usual, he's classy as heck. So, look, he shouldn't have come back this season. I didn't think. But the guy wanted to coach. And you know what? I'll be honest. If the sport didn't change, I don't think he was losing it as much as the sport completely changed. And I think there's a lot to take away from the fact that guys like this and Nick Saban are gone. Now, a lot of people aren't going to care, but the sport is a mercenary. The economics of college football, I've told you many times, it's a sugar daddy sport. It's about how much money somebody can give you right away to keep you happy. And then a month later, you got to do it again. And then the next semester, you do it again. And then you just do it all the time. It's not, we're not talking salaries. We're not talking revenue streams. We're talking about just handing out money to people to pacify them. And there's not many schools, including North Carolina, that can and will play that game. Carolina might do it in basketball. They're not going to do it in football.